Good morning, friends. It is Thursday, July 16th, and good morning to you from my 8A garden in North Georgia. It's been a minute since my last tour, but I thought I would take you on a quick tour this morning and give you some updates. We'll start here. The Blue Fortune is in full swing. As you may or may not be able to see, it is covered in assorted bees, and I don't really want to get too close because I am allergic to them. I do have an EpiPen, but it feels like not only are there more bees this year, but there seems to be a more diversity in the kinds of bees that I'm seeing. So I'll take that, I guess, as a good thing. I will say the Blue Fortune has not looked as good this year. This is the worst it has looked. And I've had most of these plants 4 or 5 years now. It could possibly be age. But I know I keep saying this in all my videos, but I really think it goes back to the late hard freeze in March. And then we've just had bizarre weather, a lot of extremes. Heat and cool, rain and drought, April up till now. And then just most recently we had some pretty torrential downpours, and I'm actually amazed that they're standing as straight as they are. I normally would not cut them back until the end of July, but I think I will be cutting them back today to try to force a second flush. Again, I mean, they're not terrible, but I just don't feel like they look quite as robust as they have in years past. And given that this first flush was not as spectacular as the previous ones, I feel like maybe I should go ahead and cut them back a little bit early and try and force a second flush for fall, which I know will not be as vigorous as the first. But I would like to have something, for late fall. So we'll see. I may or may not cut back today. I'm on the fence, but right now I'm leaning toward cutting. We have the Dragon's Breast Celosia, which I planted fairly early in the year. I've never planted it this early, and it really kind of struggled. Partly, I think, again, because of the weather. Then we had a lot of downpours, and it got flattened out, but it actually seems to be rebounding now. Dragon's Breast Celosia, hands down, is one of my top 3 favorite plants. As much as I love it, I don't know that I would plant it this early again. I do think mid to late summer and fall are probably prime time, and I'm debating if I might want to pick up a couple more plants if I happen to see any locally. I'm not sure if anybody will have them at this point in the year. Seems like last year I did get some in August or September. I just never know locally from year to year what's going to be available. Also, on a positive note, my Roman Red Salvia from Burpee that I planted late is coming on. It was really struggling at first, but I've had my first blooms, and I've not been able to fertilize in a few weeks because of the heat dome, but I think I am going to try and feed all of these later today, if I myself can handle the heat this morning. If not, I'll try to get it done this weekend. Otherwise, everything is looking fairly good. I've had this one now 2 or 3 years, and I always forget the name when I come to do the video. Any other time I'd remember. But it is a beautiful shrub. I have 3 of them. This came from Pike's Nursery. This butterfly bush, this is Pugster Amethyst, I think. Or no, Pugster Pink. It continues. This is the best it's done. It's gotten more sun, which I'm sure is why it's done so well. I'm debating if I might want to move it to the other side of the garden for next year just to get it more sun exposure. But it is beautiful, very fragrant. The only drawback to the Pugster series, I would say, any color you have, you do really need to deadhead them pretty regularly, and I will be doing that shortly today. The Bodacious Salvia, this has just finished a flush. Some salvias are kind of self-cleaning. This one's not, so I need to clean it up a little bit. This is the first year I've grown this one. I mainly got it because it was a bargain, like $1.50 a plant. I don't know. You can get what you pay for, I guess. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't feel like I've seen the hummingbirds in this very much. But again, maybe I'm missing it. It's just not as vigorous as I expected it to be. But again, and I feel like it gets a fair amount of sun, but maybe it's the location. I think this is a little lime, and you can see there's definitely some stuff going on here. I think part of it got scorched with the heat dome a couple of weeks ago, and then we had torrential rain. It normally flowers much better than this. I don't think I've had slugs or anything, but again, who's to say? But we'll see if it finishes blooming. It just feels like a lot of the blooms have kind of shriveled up. So I'm not sure. I may possibly repot this into a bigger pot next year as well. This is Miss Golly, something like that. And again, a very nice butterfly bush, but you do have to deadhead this one pretty regularly as well. It just finished a massive flush. We have some Rebecca here. Again, this is normally a lot more vigorous. Again, I'm going to attribute the small blooms to the late freeze. This is a Roman red salvia. You can see it's not done well. I think probably I should not have planted it here. Didn't realize it was going to be this overshadowed. So I'm going to try and cut back the leaves a little bit, see if this can get a little bit more sun. And see how it does here. This is the Belicious Pink that I planted pretty late. And I think considering how late I planted it, it's actually doing really well. It has been a bit spindly. But again, I think the weather is a lot to do with it. And then Funky Fuchsia. This was magnificent. And you can see I do need to go in and deadhead this one too a little bit. This Belicious Pink, this has been blooming now for like 2 months. I'm definitely cutting this back today, along probably with the asters. There are a couple of newer ones I planted that, again, are doing okay. Not great, but okay. Again, I think planting late and the weather, these are all factors. I will come back around. Well, maybe you can see it here. This is purple fountain grass. This thing has exploded. It is gorgeous. It did get laid out in a storm a few days ago and was laying completely over. I really was concerned that this plant was toast, but I managed to fluff it back up, and it seems to be holding its own. I love purple fountain grass. I know it's only an annual here, but it looks so pretty. And it looked really pretty a couple of weeks ago when the Belicious Pink was still going strong. Belicious Pink, I think last year I did get a small second flush. But it has bloomed pretty solid for the last 2 weeks. And had we not had, I think, the extremes in temperature, it would probably look a little bit better than it does now. But again, no complaints. Pardon my weeds because it has rained. So you can see here, massive casualty. This is done. Sometimes you can stick these in and reroot them, but I don't think that will be happening, but we can try. This had been my most vigorous new Belicious Pink. And then, the storm really did a number on it. The stalks just broke under the weight. Again, I don't think I can root them, but we'll try it. Put a little water in them and see. This one's still okay. Again, it'll come back. I'm not super stressed about it. I'm actually impressed that it had been doing as well as it had, considering how late I planted it. One of the very few Japanese beetles that I have seen this year, and they're normally not even here this late, but they're having a little snack on Lundstead wood. Again, it's been a really weird weather year, and I know a lot of other people have said the same thing. So, I don't know what to say. It is what it is, right? A success, though, is this. And I really was concerned this was not going to do well a month ago. And I think I may have even said as much in the last video. This is Newly Noir Coleus. This is a Proven Winners. I got this from Garden Crossings, which is mail order in Michigan. Highly recommend. I love this coleus. I will be doing this again. It is a tad leggy looking. I think part of that is probably because this does not get full sun. And they say that these can take sun or shade, but I feel like the Proven Winners varieties of coleus do perform better in full sun. With that said, you have to be careful because at least here in North Georgia is a fine line because I've had them in full sun and they do grow more vigorously, but they can get leggy and they do tend to like bleach out. So overall though, I really like this one, Nuit Noir. This is beautiful, and it took a while to get going, but now it's starting to overtake the this is Dragon Wing Begonia Rose. Love this. Last year I had the red, and I really like the red, but I really love the rose. I will do this combo again for sure next year and put it on repeat. This is definitely a winning combo. The only other thing I might have added in this, it'd been nice to have like a lime green potato vine maybe spilling out. But other than that, 100%, this is a major win. Very glad I tried both of these this year. And this is just 2 coleus plants and two Surefire, or no, not Surefire, 2 Dragon Wing Rose Begonias. This is a Banana Elysium I've had now for 2 or 3 years from Pike's Nursery. It was struggling. It got a lot of winter damage and that late freeze in March, but it is finally recovering and seems to like its new home here because I did have it on another part of the yard, but I think it's happier here now. My Bloodgood Japanese Maple continuing to thrive in its new spot. It does get some late afternoon sun, but it is not scorching like it was last year when I had it just a few feet behind me. Another surprise of the year is this Joe Pieweed. I grew this last year, and then it appeared like all the plants were dead, so I pulled them up and hand-tilled this little raised bed, and then suddenly like a zillion Joe Pieweed plants appeared out of nowhere a month later. And now here we are. I have no idea how that happened, but I'm glad it did. I hope it will happen again next year because this is supposed to be a perennial. I have planted this for the butterflies, but to be honest with you, I don't see many butterflies on it. But I'm okay with it. It's really pretty. It's obviously a sort of a wild looking plant. The bees do like it, but again, they're not flocking to this even like the Blue Fortune. Blue Fortune for sure. If you want bees in your yard, get yourself some Blue Fortune hummingbird mint. My Colorado Blue Spruce is doing okay here. I wasn't sure if it would like this much shade. We'll see how winter goes, but it's holding its own here. And then these are my box store pre-done pots of Impatiens and elephant ears. I'm still kind of torn, or are those caladiums? I'm not sure. Or is a caladium an elephant ear? I don't remember, but I love the Impatiens. I'm not 100% sold on the elephant ears, but I do think they're complimentary, and I understand why, they did this mix, and I'm okay with it. I'm not mad. I do absolutely love this like fuchsia purple shade of Impatiens, and I hope that I can get this again next year. I want to say these were like $25 for the pre-made pot, which is a little pricey, but I think it's more than paid for itself in terms of A, instant gratification, but B, this is nonstop blooming. I do not have to deadhead this. It's self-deadheading. The only thing I will say is that these do need a ton of water, and they are susceptible to heat wilt here in my zone, even with partial shade. The afternoon is when it gets kind of ugly, so it's like I have to make sure I water in the morning. This is a Florida Elysium, which I've had for some time. It is very happy here. I had moved it from over there. It does get more afternoon sun. And then some more Impatiens. And then another pot up here. I'm thinking about putting another pot here and putting a hydrangea here. We'll see. I still need to remulch. I had remulched this earlier in the spring. You can't tell it now. And need to do a little weed eating, or have my yard guy do a little bit of weed eating, who comes and helps in the summer. Let's see, over here we have, let's see, this is Tough Stuff Top Fun, I think. Yes, I just got this spring, and I have another one I'll show you in a minute. They do struggle a little bit at first, but now, again, the new growth is coming on, so I feel like in a year from now, this is going to be a winner, and I'm going to be very happy that I planted it. I know it's been recommended by Jenny at Creekside Gardening numerous times, so that's why I tried it, and so hopefully we will see how that goes. This is, oh my God, a camellia, and I'm starting to get some buds. It did bloom last summer. I forget the variety. I've had this a year. So hopefully we'll be seeing some more delicate pink blooms. A smoke bush that I thought was dead but came back. I'm just going to let it for right now. I don't feel like I have a spot for it to get enough full sun to thrive here, but we'll see. My Bobo hydrangeas are looking good. Much better than last year. Partly, I think, because I pruned them correctly this time. They have definitely liked the rain, but there is just a smidge. You know, you can see some signs of heat scorch from the heat dome a few weeks ago. But overall, this is the best they've looked since I got them. They seem to, last year was really bad. Well, we'll see. I do like them, though. I like the openness of the blooms. And these are panicle hydrangeas, so they bloom on new wood. Typically, the thing to do is to cut them back by a third. Here in North Georgia, around Valentine's Day or late February. My Vanderwolf pine is very happy. If you watched last year, he nearly burnt up. And I really thought that I had lost him. Like, he dropped all of his needles, but he made it through the winter. There's new growth coming on that you may, yeah, you can see that. So, Mr. Vanderwolf, you're looking good. Then we have another Bloodgood maple. It's also doing well here. It was sitting over here. And again, it's not a huge distance that I moved it, but it's just enough it gets a little, it does get some afternoon sun, and will get more as we go into fall, but I'm not seeing the leaf scorch like I did last year, which is miraculous considering the heat we've had. Hirosha, I forget which variety it is, and normally I've never not had any luck growing it, but it's happy in this little pot. I will say, with all the rain we've had, some of these things are finally starting to take off. This is some potato vine I got locally, fairly cheap. I forget, it's Proven Winners, but I forget the variety. I've never grown this type. It almost looks like a maple leaf, but it's cool, so I'm okay with it. The Inferno Coleus is not doing that great over here. I think it just needs more sun. Some Coleus like the shade, some like the sun, some can take both. I feel like Inferno probably needs more sun, so I will not plant Inferno over here again next year. I do plan next year to hopefully get the dipped in wine like I had last year. It definitely thrived over here. That is a Proven Winners, and that one can take the shade or the sun. It was very happy over here. They sold out from Garden Crossings before I could get any. But I will hopefully be able to order early this time and get dipped in wine. Love, love, love it. Highly recommend. I am definitely a huge fan of El Brido. This is the first year I've grown it. I was able to get a really good deal on this locally. Highly recommend El Brido for sure. And this does not get full sun all day. It was kind of wilty in full sun. So I think this is a good spot for it. I did have to briefly move this other pot of the potato vine and Roman red salvia. You can see this one's doing a little bit better compared to that. I guess where it was getting more sun. Although I don't know, the Inferno is kind of, and the potato vine is not quite as rigorous. Again, these were only a few feet apart, but I guess enough to make a difference. But anyway, I had to move this the other day because we had horrible storms and this bloodgood kept blowing over. This one has had a tiny bit of leaf scorch, but nothing terrible. Last year, this thing had like shriveled up and lost almost all its leaves. I thought it was dead. At the end of summer, then it had a little bit of life. I thought it was dead over the winter, but this thing has actually put on a lot of growth, like the trunk. That's where you can really see it. So, yeah, I'm very pleased with that. I guess the moral is if you think something's dead, wait and be sure. I'm glad I did not shovel prune it because I do love the bloodgood Japanese maples. This is a Forever Arborvitae. This is not the ideal spot. It really needs to be in a place with more sun. And I may end up moving it at some point. But right now I like the little splash of bright green here. Even though it doesn't get full sun, it still has nice color. It's just not as grown as much as my others. This is my other Tough Stuff Top Fun. And it has put on a ton of growth since last year. Since earlier this spring. So we'll see if we get some more growth. And then a couple of other conifers and arborvitae that I've had for 2 years. This one I know grows very slowly, and it was like half the size when I got it. It was like $9. So, you have to be patient with the bargain purchases. But this green giant has definitely put on more growth here. I think it's happier here. And then we've got another El Brido. You can see this one not quite as vigorous as this one. So this one does, I think, get a little bit more sun. But, I think they both still look actually really good. I am going to move over here today a Blue Fortune plant just to put a little bit more color here. I had thought about transplanting my Eclipse hydrangea over here, but I'm a little worried the afternoon sun will scorch it. So I may end up transplanting it and putting it over down there. I'm not sure yet. The jury's out. But I think I'm going to move the Blue Fortune here. I think now that the storms have passed, I'm going to move this back. Again, I mainly had just temporarily pulled it there to give it a little bit more, to keep the pot from blowing over because we had some really bad wind. These two pots here that are also kind of keeping the bloodgood maple from tipping over, I really need to do something with those. I am thinking about putting some Gatsby pink hydrangeas in there this fall. We'll see. I do think the rose begonia and newly noir coleus would look really pretty there, but I just don't, we're already halfway through the summer and I've not been able to find any on sale to, justify spending the money on it at this point in the year, so we'll see. So yeah, this side's, it's holding its own. This viburnum I know I've talked about before. I've had it now almost 2 years and it's bloomed maybe twice. I get buds and then it just doesn't bloom. I think, it doesn't get enough sun, but I think I probably need another one. When I bought it, they did not say anything about, male versus female viburnums, but I've been reading a little bit and I know that sometimes is a thing. So, if nothing else, the greenery is pretty. I don't really want to buy another viburnum just to get blooms, but the greenery is nice, so, it is what it is. But just be aware, I guess, if you buy one, that might be something to consider. But overall, I feel like this side looks nice. I think next year will be really spectacular, especially when these other hydrangeas start coming in, and then if I can get something permanent over there. All right, let's see. So we've kind of gone through here. Before we move on to the rest of the garden, I did kind of want to give you another angle from this side. Again, I've still not cleaned up my mess. I really need to get this up. Garden chores deferred. You can see this purple fountain grass. This part did get bent the little tail. But oh my gosh, it just looks so pretty when it sways in the wind, and it really is complementary to the Beelicious pink. It looked really good a couple weeks ago, and I wish now I had filmed it before the Beelicious kind of came to the end of this bloom cycle. Again, I will definitely be cutting these back today. I also feel like I'm coming to a point I need to do something with this, my Weeping Blue Atlas cedar. And yes, I'll leave my tags on, because if I don't, I won't remember the exact name. But I feel like we may be coming to the point I need to get this out of the pot and plant it into some more permanent location. I don't know if it's going to stay here or not. I'm still thinking about that. That's the good thing about pots and raised bed gardening. Especially if you're trying new things, you can start them in pots, move them around, see how they do, and then if you want to put them in a more permanent kind of planting, then you can do that. All right, so let's take a look here. The beautyberry bush has really grown this year. It would probably do even better if it had more sun, but it still gets a nice amount, where it is. I really like this. It'll be gorgeous in the fall with little purple berries. This is another Bobo hydrangea, again, doing much better than last year. I need to weed old Wallerton Hall, because every time it rains, the clover goes nuts. But you can see I've got blooms, which last year it did not bloom in the heat. Very delicate, but very pretty. The first flush is always the most vigorous. It's never as vigorous the rest of the year. Sometimes maybe in the fall, although it's probably not helped that I've not been able to fertilize because of the heat, and that also shuts down the production and affects the bloom size. Various butterfly bushes here that have finally started taking off. They were teeny tiny when I got them. This purple fountain grass, this berm is a mystery to me, because I know that this was a good combination of dirt. I had regular dirt, raised bed soil, and soil conditioner. The soil was very good quality. I mean, it was a good mix. Maybe I needed more biotone. Maybe I needed a little more compost. Maybe I should have fertilized more. I'm not sure. But this has struggled, and I've been surprised. And I'm still trying to figure out why. This gets plenty of sun, so like this purple fountain grass should be a whole lot bigger. But it is not done well. So if anyone has a suggestion, I'm all ears. The rockin' fuchsia has not done well for me overall this year, but it has always been massive for me in pots. This year, I put it in the ground. It's been okay. But even my one in the pots, I transplanted one a few weeks ago, and it's still struggling. And I know Jenny from Creekside said hers have been struggling too. So I don't know, like, what's going on. I mean, these are annual, so they're not affected by a late freeze. Maybe it's just, I don't know, just one of those years. I would still get it again, though, hands down. This is another Forever Goldie Arborvitae. This one's doing pretty well, too. Although not as well as the other one that I bought at the same time, and you'll see it in a minute. But it's very happy here overall. It's probably time to think about putting it in a bigger pot. Oh, and I also need to get that weed. Here, what can I say, y'all? This is a sweet potato vine Caroline mahogany. I do need to water it soon. It's starting to get a little heat wilt in the day. And it did well for me last year, but oh my goodness, this has just gone crazy with the rain. I loved it last year. I love it even more this year. I will definitely be doing more. I got some of it locally. It was the first time I'd seen it locally, as well as garden crossings. And then this is Unplugged Pink Salvia. I really do not see a huge difference between it and the Rockin' Fuchsia. But it has done well for me. I would do both again for sure next year. Both the Rockin' Fuchsia and the Unplugged Pink. For sure, way more of this potato vine. And I'll show you some more I have in a minute. Oh, look, we have a butterfly. Hello. Little swallowtail. So, anyway, back to the berm. Pink Cascade 2, I transplanted all of these. These had all been in pots, so I put them in the berm. It's taken a while, but they are coming into their own. These Pink Cascades have never been too, or supposed to be more vigorous, but they have never been as vigorous as my original. So I don't know. The middle one, is supposed to be Funky Fuchsia. Lowe's mislabeled it. It's something from First Editions. I don't know. But it's a prolific bloomer. So I don't mind. There's a Snow Sprite cedar back there. Some, I can't remember if that's onyx and pearls. I think that's Midnight Masquerade penstemon. Beautiful in the spring. Doesn't do a lot after that, but the foliage is pretty. Double play doozy. It had a big bloom cycle. It's starting to reload. Dark Night Butterfly Bush and Strawberry Vanilla Panicle Hydrangea. This one has been slow. And I have not seen many blooms. And there are more buds getting ready to bloom. I don't know if this is a late bloomer here. I know I pruned it correctly. That's not the issue. So we'll give it another year and see how it does. This is not terrible, but I will say I really miss all of the salvias I had last year that I had ordered from Select Seeds. Amante, and I forget the other one. I'm probably gonna rethink this bed. It's not terrible. I don't hate it. I don't love it though. I feel like I might transplant the double play doozy this fall. I might just leave these two as they are and replace the double play doozy with annual salvias next year. I just feel like I need a little more splash of color. And last year I had all the salvia that was tall and coming out, and this year, not so much. But it is what it is. The black and blue salvia is starting to come on. Some more rockin' fuchsia. This one's coming on the front. I don't know. Maybe it's just the weather. Maybe that's why they have not been as vigorous. There's a rockin' blue suede shoes back there. Again, these have been slow to come on. And they've gotten, when it's been sunny, maybe that's a problem. We've not had a ton of sunny days. And then when we finally got them, it was like 1,000,000 degrees. Honeysuckle vine here and purple hyacinth vine. I did have some blooms, but not as many as I thought I would. I'm not sure what to think. We'll see if I keep this honeysuckle vine. I like it, but the return on the blooms has just been a little bit disappointing. I may go with something else next year. I really would like something fragrant and that's blooming here, and I feel like this has not really done either. So double play doozy. This one got burned by the early freeze. You've heard me say that, but it had a nice flush. It's reloading. You can see over here one of my Gatsby pinks. This is doubled in size from when I planted it. We have some pink Whirlingara, and out of nowhere, a Dragon's Breath Celosia has sprouted. So I'm going to let it grow. Sorry, had a bee come after me. I do have this rockin' fuchsia, and back there is a small blue suede shoe salvia. I may be moving those later today. They're just, I don't know. The fuchsia I might leave. I feel like the rockin' blue I definitely need to move. Like, it's not doing great. The purple fountain grass, just like the other one, is getting plenty of sun. It's just not thriving, and I don't know why. The other one's in a pot, and you see the difference. And I only planted these like maybe 2 weeks apart. So I don't know. My Carolina, Arizona cypress has finally recovered from the fertilizer burn from earlier this year, and it's happy in its new home. Hopefully it's going to strengthen up, and if we get ice, it will not bend over and scare me to death like last year. This is a limelight, I think. Oh, wait a minute, the tag's still on it. I'll go look in a minute. That might be a little lime. Again, very late blooming. All of my hydrangeas, all my panicles are very late this year. My blue boa looks like a mess, but I love it and the bees love it, so I'm probably going to cut the old blooms back today. Some more Dragon's Breath Celosia. This is like a tall Rudbeckia. The blooms are tiny compared to previous years. Forgive my window air conditioning unit noise. This Blue Fortune I transplanted out of a small pot. It has gone absolutely wild. That is bee central over here. We've got Kentucky Switchgrass, Mountain Fire Pieris, Laura Petalum. Forget which Laura Petalum this is. This one nearly died from the hard freeze. We'll see if it really recovers. Sorry, dodging bees. Banana Peel Elysium. Some more Impatiens. These have been really pretty also. Sorry. The purple hyacinth vine, my plan was to put a wood trellis on this and train them up. Well, you can see that did not happen. So I guess at this point I really need to decide if I'm just going to kind of let these vines do their thing, or if I'm going to maybe try to pull them up and plant them somewhere else, transplant them. I'm not sure. Again, Banana Elysium, these really took a hit from that late hard freeze and the ugly spring. I feel like they're just now starting to look decent again. Another Laura Petalum that almost didn't make it. Banana Peel Elysium. We'll finish touring this in just a minute. This is Megapunk Celosia. I grew these from seed. I'm very proud of myself. They're coming along pretty nicely. I think, again, September will be quite a show. Let's see. We have another Gatsby Pink Hydrangea doing well. We've got the remains of a blush pink Invincibelle. I guess my Sublime Invincibelle is not going to bloom. It was teeny tiny, and I thought it was dead over the winter. It was very small when it arrived, and then it just kind of took off this year. So I don't know. I will prune it just like I did the other Invincibelles next late winter, and maybe next year I will have blooms because it's supposed to be fabulous. There was a hosta there. It's finished blooming. Another Impatient I put in for a splash of color. Same thing with that blush pink. I thought it was dead. It was tiny when I got it, and then it's taken off. So I don't know. They maybe are just going to have to cycle through this year, and then I'll prune them in the spring and hopefully get some growth. Again, the Snow Sprite Cedars are loving all of the rain, so they're good. I did finally deadhead the Invincibelle Blush Pink, and I don't know that I'll get a rebloom on this, but we'll see. I'm torn about, and I think I've said this before, the Arctic Salvias. I don't feel like the pink and the purple are as vigorous as the red, and it probably would do better if it had more sun. But even with that, it's like you get a good first flush, and then it just doesn't seem to perform. So honestly, these are probably going to get shovel pruned, or maybe just transplanted somewhere else. This is one that I had for 3 years. It almost died. It comes back a little bit more each year, so I just let it do its thing. My other Japanese maple I got earlier this year at a bargain price, and it is really filling in nicely now. It was very one-sided, which I think is why it was on sale, but now the other side's filling in. So I'm going to leave it in that pot for this season, and then we'll see, come spring, what I may do, or may just leave it for another year. This is the best this purple pugster has done. Again, they really do like sun for sure. Some butterfly bushes can take some shade. Pugsters would not be one of them. Gorgeous, super fragrant. My only critique is you do have to get out here and deadhead them. Another pink Cascade. This one has never been as vigorous as my first, but it is coming on. I need to come in and deadhead it. Some more Blue Fortune, assorted more hummingbird mints. I forget. Licorice, I don't know. I got these from Select Seeds. They're not super pretty, but the hummingbirds do like them, so they stay. There's also some purple haze mixed in. Not as vigorous as Blue Fortune, but still nice. And then my mother of all pink cascades. This is the 3rd year I've had this one. It loves the spot. Or the dirt I used or something. All right. This was a hollyhock, which I had cut back because it had like gone nuts and overtaken the pot. It killed my queen nectarine. Really did a number on this Blue Fortune. I'm going to be cutting all of this back. I still need to dig this out. This Rose of Sharon, like, I'm just done. This Loropetalum probably is going to go. I think I may replace it maybe with a Gatsby pink hydrangea. And then this Banana Peel Elysium has recovered from the spring hard freeze. I do love the Elysium plants, but just know if you get them, a late hard freeze in spring will be rough on them, but they will eventually recover. I didn't really do anything to them. I just let them go. So some more of this tall, I forget the name of the variety. I got it from Bluestone Perennials. This Rebecca, it's not terrible, but again, nowhere as vigorous as the past. Again, I think the late freeze. But you can see the bees are very happy over here. Again, they've gone nuts on all of this Blue Fortune. Let's go in the middle and then we'll come around. Hopefully I will not get stung here. My Summerific Evening Primrose Hibiscus is pretty much done. I might get a small second flush, but it's pretty much done for the year. I mixed all these. The blooms are gorgeous when they bloom, but they do not last long. And it looks pretty rough the rest of the time. So I'm kind of torn. I love the blooms. Maybe if I had it in a spot with more sun, I don't know. Or if I had it in the ground, it might be more vigorous for me or a better performer. Although I cannot complain. I think it's done pretty well in the pot, but I'm debating. I'm going to try and move this one today, though, because I need to open up this space a little bit. The phlox has gone nuts. The last storms did a number. I'm going to stake this up today. Butterflies love it. This is Jenna phlox. Blue Fortune. This version of Celosia has been a real disappointment for me. I will not be purchasing locally from Lady Slipper again. This is the first time I bought from them. Thank goodness I only spent $25 on what I got, but the 3 varieties of plants I got, none of them have done well. Not to my standards anyway. So they're a local nursery, and I'm not trying to trash talk anybody, but I really don't understand what the big deal is, because at least what I got, I was very disappointed, and I will not shop with them again. This is Cranberry Raz Butterfly Bush. This is a gorgeous one. Again, you do have to deadhead it. Sorry. Bees and creatures over here. Also, if you hear weird noise in the background, it would be the children just down the road playing outside. They're not hurt. They're just being kids, having a good time. Some more Purple Bean Hyacinth. Again, this is the first time I've grown it. I will say, I am not getting as much sun in this garden as I have in years past. And the only thing I can think of is that possibly my tree canopy maybe has increased from last year more than I realized. But I've been watching the last few days, and definitely I am not getting the morning sun here as much or as early as I have in the past. Oh, we also have a hummingbird flying around us. Yeah, I see you, Mr. Higgins. So that may inform what I plant over here or continue to try to do next year. This was a pretty high sun area, and it does get afternoon sun, but nowhere as much as I've had in years past. So I think I'm going to have to rethink this. I did plant some more Jenna phlox. I don't feel like it's as vigorous as last year, the new plantings, but again, we've had some really bizarre weather. We had the heat dome, then we had rain. I mean, it's been feast or famine, like nothing in between. It's either been rainy and cloudy all the time or super hot and gross. So yeah, I do think I love the phlox, I did get, I forget what this hummingbird mint was called from Select Seeds. They accidentally sent me this instead of Belicious Pink, and they said I could keep it. I do not love this hummingbird mint. We'll see. I'll probably transplant it maybe to a pot next year. It might look good like in a big grouping in a pot. I am going to try and salvage this bed though. So I am going to dig up the celosia. I may put them in a small pot just to see if they do better somewhere else. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I just don't think it's a good variety. But I may move the Rockin' Fuchsia over here because typically the Rockin' Fuchsia Pink does extremely well in that spot where they are. Last year I had some there and I moved it late and it got massive in the fall. So I just like having things for the hummingbirds over here. This area, this has been a bust. So let me actually pan over here. This is my first edition hydrangea. This is one I think I'm going to move. I just got it in the spring. It was a lot darker. It still has dark leaves. It is a cool hydrangea. I don't think I'd want a ton of these, but it is a beautiful specimen hydrangea. I think I may move it over to the area where we started. This has come on strong, even though it doesn't get full sun. I don't know that I'm going to get any more blooms off this. I had this last year on the other side of the garden, and I had 2 really nice flushes, but it got a lot more sun. But even without blooms, I think it's pretty. And this is not my favorite variety of coleus. I forget what it's called, but it's okay. I'm letting it go ahead and go to bloom just because my others I'll keep pinched back, but this one I don't mind if it goes to bloom. The Inferno has come on here along with the black and blue salvia from Burpee. Again, I planted these pretty late, so I think considering how late I planted them and the weather, they actually look pretty good. I kind of go back and forth with the Inferno. I like it. I will say though, I like the Campfire Coleus much better, along with the Red-Headed Coleus. Next year, I'm going to try to make sure really hard that I get those 2 varieties early from Select Seeds. Those are the only places I'd be able to find it. And I would, oh, the hummingbirds are going nuts. I would highly recommend those. And I think next year, I'm going to try to do that. Again, I don't hate this Inferno. And I got a really good price on it along with the salvia from Burpee. I'm just not, I don't hate it. I'm not 100% in love with it. But it's okay. Now in a month, I may have a different story. If this gets, fuller and bushier, then that would be great. But I think, again, all things considered, it's doing very well, considering, I planted it late and the weather we've had. All right, let's see. This is Little Lime Punch. This is a very reliable hydrangea. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got buzzed by a hummingbird. I'm right in his space. This is a very reliable hydrangea. It likes this spot here. It's a small one, but I love it. I think the panicles on it are really pretty, very tight. There's a hint of blush pink. If you grow this up north, I'm sure it looks really spectacular with the cooler nights in pink. All right, this Rebecca last year was a rock star for me. You can see it's really struggled this year. Again, I think the late freeze demolished that and my purple haze, and it also did a number on these 2 butterfly bushes. Both of these last year were twice as big. I'm just baffled. That's Blue Fortune. This whole bed has struggled. I am going to make sure I add compost to this bed and do a little bit better job keeping the leaves out in the winter. But aside from that, I don't really know what else to do. And maybe it's just, again, the weather, things beyond my control. But this has been a huge disappointment because this for sure was one of the best parts of the garden last year. But, some years they be like that, right? Fat Albert, he's hanging in there looking gorgeous, the stud that he is. All right, and we're going to go around. And you can kind of get a little bit of a different view from back here, the back door to this part of the garden. Again, I've got to stake up all of this phlox. Last year it didn't get this big or massive. So this was a surprise. All right, let me move through here carefully because I don't want to anger the bumblebee. Again, I've got some deadheading to do too. Okay, I'm out of your way, bees. I feel like the bees are very agitated this year. Last year I could walk around them and it didn't seem to bother them, but this year they don't seem to like it. Yeah, and Fat Albert. Oh, the other thing I should know, the Joro spiders have already started. They've never started this early. I hate these things. If you live in the southeast, you understand. This is my other Forever Gold arborvitae. Ooh. I'm sorry, I have no idea if you can see this or not. I think my phone is also probably overheating. That would be Mr. Higgins. Hello, Higgins. We now have 2 males and there are 2 females now, which is what I had last year. Up until about a week ago, I had 1 male, 1 female. In fact, I had 2 males and 1 female. And I mainly saw, 2 males. The female just appeared a week or 2 ago, but there are definitely 2 females and 2 males now. This is my other Forever Goldie arborvitae. You can tell this one's a little more robust, which is surprising to me because this one does not get as much sun as the other one on the other side of the garden. But for whatever reason, it is happy here. I like it with the lavender butterfly bushes and the Fat Albert. I am debating getting both of these in the ground for real this fall. I haven't decided if I'm brave enough to do that. Part of me feels like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I also know that they cannot stay in these containers forever. So I'm just afraid I'll kill them if I take them out. So I'm still debating that. All right, let's walk around here. This is Purple Cascade Butterfly Bush. It has not been happy with the weather we've had. It has had a lot of heat wilt in spite of vigorous watering. I just feel like this whole side of the garden has struggled. I don't know. Other than the little lime punch. I will say this does look nice from here. Oh, I've also had a Rogue Salvia. I have never grown this variety of salvia. I have no idea where it came from. None. And I also hand-tilled this bed too. So it's always interesting to me what pops up in your garden. I'm going to pan out. You can see it actually doesn't look terrible from here. I do like the cascadey effect of the purple hyacinth bean. Again, I think if I had sun, I'd have a lot more sun like I had expected. There would be more growth, but it's not terrible. I'm thinking about doing a sweet potato vine up that trellis next year, though. I saw one today on the Creekside Gardening channel. They were at a garden show conference. And I thought, wow, that would look super cool. So we'll see. Yeah, not terrible. All right, let's come over this way a little bit. Thank you if you're still with me. We have some more of the sweet potato vine Caroline. Now, this really doesn't get any sun until late in the day. There's some polka dot plant, which is nicely growing into the sedum, which never really did bloom. This is autumn sedum. But, even not in bloom, I think it looks nice. I've been amazed how well, I've had this now 2 years, and how well it's thrived in this old wheelbarrow, which belonged to my parents and my great-grandmother. So I love it for sentimental reasons. This is my little Pottery Barn deer. I leave him out year-round. He lights up at night. But you can see, even in the shade, the potato vine is super vigorous. Look at this. Who doesn't like, a beautiful cascade here? Really pretty. I will say, and I wish I had maybe put another one or two just to kind of have like a whole wall. Maybe 2 more here and 1 there. But, budget. but I would definitely do potato vine here again. Much better than the super petunias I tried to do. I've given up on super petunias. They just, I feel like, struggle, I think, here in our heat and humidity in the South. And I mean, some people can do great with them. I feel like they're a lot of work, more work than like I want to do. So, you know, it is what it is. I should say, I got sidetracked over here. This is probably going to be a bed that I am going to redo. I've not loved the penstemon over here. I think Midnight Masquerade is the pink. I like it. That's what I have in the other pot. But I had this onyx and pearls, and it was okay, but I didn't love it. I don't know. Or maybe I'm mixing them up. I may just dig these up and put these all in a big pot like the other one and just repeat that. I think that would look nice, and move it over there so I can kind of repeat it with the other one. That would not be bad. And move this hydrangea, and then just kind of start over here. I think it would look nice to do next year, maybe in the middle, some Blue Fortune hummingbird mint, just because I like to have things for the butterflies and the pollinators. And then do the Surefire Rose Begonias and the Newly Noir Coleus. I think that would look very nice over here. So we'll see. All right, let's keep moving. All right, so we have here, let's see, this is my Red Dragon Japanese maple. Some of you, if you've watched before, know this was my little $39 bargain from a couple of years ago at Pikes. It was nearly dead. And it has really come on this year. Then we've got, well, you can see we've had tree limbs and branches down left and right from the storms. These were Little Impatiens were like $1.50 each at a big box store. I really like these. Last year I had Moon Dust Coleus over here. Part of me wishes I had done the Moon Dust Coleus, but I really like this too. I will say this is nice. Again, these Impatiens, you do not have to deadhead. They just take care of themselves. Just keep them watered though, because they are susceptible to heat wilt, even though this is part shade. But they've done pretty well. Again, I like it. I don't hate it. I think I'm partial to Coleus, but the Impatiens are growing on me. Maybe if I had like 2 barrels of some Coleus flanking this, or maybe like a smaller planter of Coleus, I don't know. The Moon Dust looked really pretty over here with the maples. This is my other bargain one. This is Crimson Queen. She is gorgeous. She was also a bargain, almost dead, and she has really, again, this last year has kind of come on strong. And then some new hydrangeas I planted earlier this year. They are coming along very nicely. I do worry this got more sun last year. I think I'm going to try and have some of these branches thinned out. I mean, because it's time. They've not been done in 20 years. But B, to open up a little bit more sun over here for the garden. Because you can see there's like a little bit of mold. But the hydrangeas seem to be doing okay in spite of it. Again, I see the beginnings of some blooms, but again, you know, it'll really be next year before we get a show, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I think all things considered, with the weird weather we've had, the garden is not bad. Some things that have performed really well for me in the past have struggled this year. I do have some interesting punches of color. I've tried a lot of new things this year. I think the 2 things I really miss, again, are my Coleus plants I had last year. I really miss the Campfire, Dipped in Wine, Redhead Coleus, and the Moon Dust. Those are the 4 things I did not get that I really wish that I had. And then the salvias I got from Select Seeds last year, Amante, and I forget what the other one is. Those, I really miss having those. And then my Rockin' Fuchsias just have not performed this year like they have in the past. So, you know, I know Jenny talks about this a lot on Garden Crossings, your messes and successes. And, you know, there's certainly been a lot of successes this year. There's just been some things that have been disappointing. I think most of it beyond my control. But I do think for sure in all of my beds over the winter, I need to do a better job of keeping the leaves cleaned out over the winter. And I need to make sure that I am adding in soil conditioner and compost and refreshing the dirt, even if it seems like the dirt is still good. I feel like I need to do that better. And then the rest is up to Mother Nature, right? But anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I do think I may try to transplant those penstemons and then maybe have another pot. I could probably pop it in right there. And that would look nice to repeat it. Or I could even probably pop it in back here. And that wouldn't be bad either. Have one there and one here. I would really like to do another long raised bed. But I was looking online. And they were, I think, for what you get, affordable last year. But, you know, we're living in a different time now of unfair tariffs. And the price has gone up over $100. And I'm just not going to spend that kind of money for the same thing. So I'm going to rethink what I'm going to do here. Now I'm thinking I might do another raised bed berm here. I'll have to be strategic because we are dealing with tree roots here. But maybe do another barrel of something to kind of flank it. And then, you know, build that berm up. And then see, you know, maybe what I might want to do. Again, I'm not 100% sure. I just want something to give a little bit more structure here. So I'm going to think about it. I have some thoughts, but we'll see what time and the budget permits. In the meantime, I need to cut things back today. I need to pick up fallen tree limbs. I need to do a little bit of weeding, possibly some fertilizing. If there's energy, I might transplant some things. Yes, it's the middle of July, but you can do it if you are just smart about it. And then I need to try to move some things very carefully without hurting myself today. So that's kind of what's going on. If you stayed with me for an hour, again, I know my last one was long too, but if you stayed with me, I hope you've enjoyed the tour. I hope that you are having a great growing season where you're at. If you're not growing, I hope that you're enjoying seeing this video as well as other people's. That's one of the great things about YouTube is that we get to visit a lot of different gardens all over the world and learn from each other and feel inspired. You know, whatever our gardening season may be for us in our lives. So again, thank you for watching. And if you have any tips for any of the concerns I've shared today, or if you have similar misses and successes you would like to share, please feel free to jump into the comments and do that. We'll take one last look at this gorgeous beauty. And with that, I will say goodbye for now. And take care, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day, everybody.